move to the other story about the leadership of the Democrats in the House. The coalition of 16 letter signers has already fallen apart. God bless you. Has already fallen apart. Apparently, at least one guy, Higgins from New York, has decided that he is going to rescind his signature on that letter. That is important because the magic number was 15. 15 votes against Pelosi could be afforded as of now. It may be. The Democrats picked up a House seat in Utah and in, I think it was California was the second one. There was two of them. The Mia Love seat, and then there was a second seat that the AP had called, or maybe the AP had called that one. Nevertheless, there's at least about 15 votes that Nancy Pelosi can afford to let people take based upon their promise to their voters. And all of this is blown up in Seth Moulton's face, showing at the very least that Nancy Pelosi is pretty good at what she does when it comes to, at the very least, twisting arms and getting votes for what she wants and knowing where and when she can get them. Seth Moulton now has a Seth Moulton problem. He was holding a town hall in Amesbury on the North Shore up near the New Hampshire line, more or less where you would go if it was a Sunday and you needed to do a packy run because of the blue laws in Massachusetts. And you would shoot across the border, pick up some booze, come back, party for a football game, let's say. Seth Moulton announcing his opposition to Nancy Pelosi. Apparently, he didn't check this out with his constituents.
The majority of Americans want this change. The majority of Democrats want this change. We want this.
And we just don't like Washington, get rid of everybody, put this guy in, and it feels like you don't think there's a skill set necessary.
And apparently that constituent was onto something because he certainly didn't have the skill set. He was backing off the letter very quickly, saying how he didn't write it. There were other members in the dark hiding out who were afraid.
A letter was written.
And then he goes on to compare Nancy Pelosi to Margaret Thatcher, which I think from an ideological standpoint is wrong, and also from a historical standpoint, what he discussed was also wrong. And it didn't seem to do very well politically with his own constituents. Here he is.
Someone told me the story recently of Margaret Thatcher. Sort of the same, similar, it's a different system of government, but the same sort of thing where you, go to the floor of Parliament to get the votes to be elected Prime Minister. And she had served several terms, and then a lot of people said, Prime Minister, it's time for a change. And she said, no, I'm going to stick with it. And then they said, well, Prime Minister, you don't have votes. And she said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the floor. I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to twist arms, and I'm going to get the vote anyway. And so she did that. So she went to the floor and she twisted arms, and she didn't have the votes. And then they elected a new prime minister, and everything went on, and people were excited about the new prime minister, and that's okay. Like, that's how.
That is the strangest. First off, what happened with Margaret Thatcher is her own party. She didn't have the votes amongst her own party. Nancy Pelosi clearly has the majority of Democrats in favor of her, even prior to the opposition falling apart.
To the point where she's almost orchestrating the opposition.
Well, you need 218 votes. She had the vast majority of Democratic votes, even if she didn't get to 218, right? Thatcher lost confidence. Her own party lost confidence in her. In this instance, you're talking about maybe 10% of the Democrats wanting to vote against her. So that analogy was wrong. And just the analogy of and they got a new prime minister and everything was fine. Well, this is a pretty dramatic change. Margaret Thatcher was horrible.
It's like a 5th grade civics lesson.
It really is. I'm going to do something that hopefully you won't pick up on how condescending it is as I tell you this story.
My understanding is Thatcher was booted because she wasn't pro-Europe enough.
Is that right?
By like the John Major types.
That's very possible. She wasn't moving into the 21st century.